actually in the screen?
Yep, you're right in the bullseye middle. And it's recording. I don't like.
Why?
Because you're not smiling or anything.
Well, I'm not ready to shoot yet. Hey there everyone, Frontier Geek back at you. So this is a modification that's been quite a bit of time coming. Possibly 3 years or more. I don't remember if this predates the Frontier Geek YouTube channel or not, but it's probably right around the same time. Anyway, any of you that own a higher level Frontier know that the option list includes a sliding rear window. Unfortunately, that sliding rear window is manual, which I think is kind of ridiculous, especially for a crew cab, because unless you're that 1980s toy Stretch Armstrong that you could pull the arm out to like 4 times its regular length, all of us non-freaks are probably not going to be able to reach from the driver's seat all the way back there to push that window open while in the driver's location. So then you end up finding out that you go to run out and do an errand or even a long trip, and you get ready to roll out and put your keys in, start the engine, hop in the driver's seat, take off, and about 2 minutes after you pull out the driveway and you're already possibly even on a freeway or at least on a public road, you realize you hadn't opened the window yet, and you're like, man, it'd really be nice to have some more airflow here, and then you have to find a safe place to pull over, undo your seatbelt, open the driver's door, hop out, walk to the back, open the rear cab door on whichever side you choose, slide the window open, close that door, walk all the way back, jump back in the driver's seat, close the door, put your seatbelt back on, put it back in drive, and then merge back into traffic. Way too much work. This is just absurd. And I don't understand why Nissan didn't realize this is just absurd. So, I am not the one that came up with this idea. There were some guys on ClubFrontier, and it's amazing how many projects or ideas I've lifted from there. But hey, that's the whole point, right? Everybody's sharing information, and sometimes photos as well. So I'm going to mention that not all the photos in this video were actually taken by me because it was so bloody hot the last couple of days here in Maryland that I was really trying more to get through the project without dying of heat stroke than I really was documenting everything. So unfortunately, I don't have photos of all of the steps. So I did borrow a few from that particular thread, and that thread is Power Rear Window Mod 313881. I'm going to include that in the links and listing, and I give props and credit to everyone who has blazed this trail before me, and thank you for not only the parts list and all, but borrowing a couple of those public use photos. So I have inserted those in the area where I did not have a picture myself. This does not constitute any sort of a copyright claim or anything of that nature. I'm just saying that I'm very appreciative that these photos were available, and as I had mentioned, all the parts were already in, so I just kind of included these, folded everything together. So wherever you see a photo that has a red sheet metal in the background, obviously that was a red truck, not mine, which of course is silver. So the photos that you see that have the Dynamat type sound deadening are pictures of my truck, my actual vehicle, and so is the video of the window opening and closing, which I just shot a few minutes ago, my time, which is the 4th of July, by the way, so happy 4th to everyone who gets to see this video. And so let me, without further ado, start rolling with the clips.
Alright, and here we go for a demonstration of the window operation. Open and shut and open and shut. As you can see, it operates pretty quickly. It's nice and smooth. The Honda motor is, well, it's original equipment obviously, so it meets Honda's specifications. So regardless of where it may have been made, who knows, China, Japan, wherever it was sourced from, at least it's OEM quality, and I would assume that's going to have a bit of longevity. So we'll see how everything goes. So there it is. Back to the video.
All right, everyone. So now you've had a chance to take a look at all of the slides, I guess you could really call it. Unfortunately, I have good news and bad news. So first, I want to give a shout out to 808 up front and Harm, HARM, from ClubFrontier.org. Those are the two that not only supplied photos but did all of the previous legwork. And Harm was actually the one that machined and manufactured all these parts, did a great job. I mean, there's a couple very small tooling marks and things like that, but honestly, I couldn't do anything probably 10% as good as this. So he's a genuine whiz with the machining, and so very much thankful to him. Unfortunately, he has been off of the ClubFrontier board for about a year and a half, it looks like, at this point. So like I said, I have good news and bad news. The good news was that the kit was very nicely made and it worked pretty well. The bad news, unfortunately, is I don't think that there's going to be any more kits forthcoming. So given that, I have shown a couple of pictures here also of some other people's installations. If you look at the one where the rear window has a piece of yellow tape attached to it, and the bracket looks like it was made out of heavier type sheet metal instead of being machined from an aluminum chunk. That seems to be pretty much, unfortunately, sad to say, if anyone's going to try to attempt to duplicate this, that seems to be pretty much your only option. And if you look at photo 3 there, you'll see how he did the window strip. He used a thinner piece of metal to create the bonding segment, and he used steel for this particular application instead of the aluminum, and went ahead and glued that to the window. And then in the middle you can see there's a kind of a hump there. He took another piece of steel and welded those two together. Then after they were welded, drilled them and tapped for 1/4 20 button head screws. So you'd probably want to try to emulate that. The wiring's pretty simple. I included in the parts list where you can source one of those switches that is a momentary on, off, on, momentary both directions, because you definitely don't want it to stay engaged or the motor's going to try to continue to push, and eventually you'll either burn up the motor itself or break one of those flexible drive cables, which you certainly don't want any of those things to occur. So I put a source there for a couple of different switches, which are very similar to the one that I mounted. If you saw the photo where it's on the side of the center console, right near the shift handle. Unfortunately, I threw away the package that came with my switch, and amusingly, I can't seem to find it on the internet anywhere. So these two are very, very close. Functionally and electrically, they work the same. I like the one that I got, I think, a little better. So if I do happen to run into a source for that, I'll go ahead and make an update later on. But as I mentioned, functionally and electrically, the other two are very, very similar. I just kind of like the actual physical appearance of this switch. Just the aesthetics, to me, really looked very nice. So when I saw that in the RV center, I just snapped it up. It was somewhere around $20, if I recall, and has been sitting in a drawer for about 3 years, waiting for me to finish this project. So anyway, if you have any questions, please go ahead and drop those in the comments, and I'll see if I can answer them for you. Hopefully this at least gives you some kind of a creative push on moving forward with maybe duplicating this on your own. As I'd mentioned, unfortunately, it looks like where these kits were coming from is now gone. So if you have some fabricating skills, you could probably, without too much trouble, duplicate this project. If you're like me and are very good at wiring but not very great with being able to machine out metal parts that look pretty decent, unfortunately, as I'd stated, without outside help and being able to buy this project parts, this probably never would have come to fruition. But I really like it, and hopefully it'll inspire you. Until next time, Frontier Geek out.